Oh, say, can you see by the what is up, my brothers and sisters, my agents of respect? It's your boy Trey Johnson back with another episode and another season of the No Disrespect Bud podcast. And in case you couldn't tell, we are live, baby. See, I promised y'all in my New Year's resolution, if you remember, you were paying attention to season 2, that we will be going live this summer. And like I said, I am a man of my word. Nothing more respectful than that. So what I need y'all to do is make sure you hit that like button and you subscribe to this channel because we're going to keep bringing this content to you like I always do because I love my fans. So for those of you that are just joining this network, let me give you a little brief synopsis of what I'm going to be bringing to you. Are you tired of having 50 different podcasts in your queue because you're trying to get some diversity in your life? Well, the No Disrespect But podcast is your one-stop shop for everything. I'm gonna cover sports, politics, religion, whatever it may be. If you're just having a bad day at work, guess what? I do too, and I'll cover that. We talk about this type of stuff all the time. And all that you can always do, like, subscribe, and in that comment section, you put exactly what you, the fans, want to hear. And like I said, I'm a man of my word. I'll make sure that you are heard on this show. We're going to have some guests this season because while I like to think I know everything, I don't. And that's why I have some experts come in and talk to y'all about some various topics. Last season, we had my good friend Matt Dyson come and talk about gun rights. And so I want to make sure we're having experts like that on here again for anything and everything that's going on in your life or anything you're trying to consume. We want to make sure we are giving that to you and having the proper people explaining and educating you and also me on the topic. Because what I say here, if I offend anybody, it's okay. It's an opportunity for me to learn. It's for you, opportunity for you to teach me. All we ask is that we keep it respectful. And speaking of, if you guys walked in, you heard me singing the Star Spangled Banner. I'm American for my international fans that may be watching. And, I was just practicing the national anthem because I think I am going to be singing it a lot during the Olympics. And I think other nations better get used to it because they're going to be hearing it a lot. So much that they might as well learn the words. So I've been contemplating maybe I might sing the Star Spangled Banner at the end of this segment, just so you guys can follow along when the United States is kicking your ass this year. But I digress. So speaking of, I just finished watching the men's USA basketball team in their exhibition games. So you've been following the sport, past two, not so good. Lost to Nigeria, lost to Australia. Now, those that don't really watch basketball, they watch the National Basketball Association, which, ladies and gentlemen, there is a difference. America isn't the only place where basketball is played. It is an international sport worldwide. It's played all over the world, and some of the best are over there playing, even if they never make it to the National Basketball Association. So social media, the big sports networks like FS1, ESPN, they were just in an uproar, just kind of saying, oh my God, this reminds us of 2004. We're going to get slaughtered in the Olympics. And even myself, I've been guilty. When I saw the roster, I just kind of felt like, it's not as impressive. I don't think we're sending our best guys. So it did seem kind of reminiscent of 2004, especially when you understand that season when we won bronze, or that Olympic Games when we won bronze, and Argentina ended up taking the gold that year, led by Manu Ginobili, San Antonio Spurs. I am wearing the shirt for a reason. I'll get to that. But they had a lot of opt-outs laid, so we had to pretty much makeshift the lineup, bring some folks that weren't playing with us for the World Cup, like the qualifiers. We had to, get a young LeBron James, a young Carmelo, a young D-Wade, a young Amari, and bring them on the team when they really weren't even expecting to play them and didn't play them. And we ended up losing really, really bad, kind of being an embarrassment, which led to the Redeem team in 08, which was led by Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade. You know the story. And then we've kind of been on a tear internationally since. And this year, knowing that, LeBron James wasn't playing, Steph Curry wasn't playing, Anthony Davis wasn't playing, Zion Williamson didn't make the team. You were like, oh, how's this team looking? And yeah, we had KD, who I think is one of the best of the world, if not the best basketball player in the world. And you got Draymond Green, Defensive Player of the Year. Dame's a bucket, Bradley Beal's a bucket, Zach LaVine's a bucket, but you see most of the people I'm talking about are buckets. Well, in Olympic play, you need more than buckets. You need defensive stoppers, you need rebounders, you need folks that do the dirty plays. And we saw in the first two exhibition games that's what the other nations had. But we got to give them credit. I saw a lot of people expecting that we should blow these teams out for some reason, because we never blow teams out. If you look at the track record of our Olympic teams, when we play the better teams in the world, they give us a challenge, as they should, because they are some of the best basketball players, period, in the world, even if they never played in the National Basketball Association. But then you turn around and you start looking at rosters now around the world, and some of those guys are on NBA rosters. Yeah, they may be role players or guys into the bench, but that does not mean they can ball. And you see that when they get to their countries, their native countries, they're playing for much more than the name on the back of the jersey. It's the name on the front of the jersey. It's their country. And you find that with the United States. I think at this point in time, our players go through the motions. I don't think they have this this sense of pride as Americans to play for our country, which, I mean, when 80% of the league is African American, or Black, I should say, and we know how Black people are treated in our country, I can kind of see why they don't necessarily feel that way. For them, the NBA is the pinnacle. Whereas some of these international players, they've been playing for their homeland since they were preteens, and it's extremely important to them. It's home, and they want to represent for their country. They do it when they play in the NBA, and they represent their countries well, a la Rudy Gobert in France, Nicolas Batum in France, Nikola Jokic for Serbia, Luka Doncic for Slovenia. I can go on and on. But you see time in and time out that these international players are playing for something bigger. The Olympics, it matters to them, especially when they know they're going to be playing against some of the best American players from the NBA. So was I surprised that we lost the first two exhibition games? I was not. Like I said, I've been watching Nigeria for a while. Once Chimezie Metu joined the team, and I'm a Spurs fan. One of the reasons why I'm really wearing this shirt and excited about U.S. men's basketball is because it's led by Greg Popovich, the greatest coach of all time, and the head of the snake that is the San Antonio Spurs. And so glad that he finally got his chance to lead our nation. Coach K had been doing an amazing job for the last few years, but now it's Coach Pop's time, and so I'm excited what he's going to bring. But again, I love watching other countries because I know the Spurs, who are like the kings of drafting international players, I know they're going to be represented well. So, I mean, I love watching Nigeria play now because I know Chimezie's there. Jahlil Okafor is on the team now, a Duke player, so I love watching them. Argentina, who the USA just beat. I mean, I've been watching them since Manu was playing for them. And I was really happy when they won the 2004 gold, and Luis Scola still is playing big minutes for them. I mean, I don't know how he's still playing, because I feel like he's ancient. He's been around for a very long time. But like I said, it's bigger than basketball for those international players. So he's still representing his country, and he's actually leading the Argentine team, which is the fourth best team in the world. Like the entire world, Argentina is the number 4 team entire world. So obviously Australia, who beat the United States a couple of nights ago, led by Patty Mills, who's one of the best 6 men in the history of the game, one of the best 6 men in Spurs history. I would say second to Manu Ginobili, which isn't anything to sniff at. But Patty's been a champion in the NBA. He's played some very important games. And you see, I mean, he's a role player in the National Basketball Association, but Australia, he's their guy. And that also leads me to my next point, where the United States, every time, for the most part, when we create an Olympic team, at least the first go around, when we know some of those players that typically would play aren't playing. It's really a makeshift of some of the best that the NBA has to offer, American player wise. And we're taking the best guys from every team. Like they're all alphas. Look at Damian Lillard, Portland's best player. Kevin Durant, Nets best player. He's the Nets best player. Bradley Beal, he's the Wizards best player. Zach LaVine, he's the Bulls best player. Like I can go on and on. So again, you're having guys who are used to being that alpha dog or that alpha male in their particular camp. Whereas a guy like Patty Mills in Australia, he knows what it's like to be a role player, but he also knows from his international play what it's like to be the leader and the guy. And what helps is that he's surrounded by other guys who have played in a more supportive role in their careers, like a Joe Ingles, a Matthew Dellavedova. And then they also have some guys who are big in the like the Australia Basketball League, the NBL, I think is what it's called there. But they have some of the best from Australia playing as well. So those guys, they played together for a while. Some of them grew up playing together. So they kind of have that connection that our American players don't have, in a sense that they only had, what, 5 or 6 practices, and we threw them out there for exhibitions, whereas some of these countries, they've been practicing for years together. So when you understand that that's the makeup of what we're dealing with, you understand it's going to take America some time, which I think the first couple games, they were getting their feet wet. Keep in mind, they're still missing Jrue Holiday, Devin Booker, and Chris Middleton, 3 guys who are currently playing in the NBA Finals. Will be joining the team right after the NBA Finals, so that would be good to have them. You add another scorer in D Book. You're adding pretty much an everything guy in Chris Middleton. And you got Jrue Holiday, who's probably going to be the best perimeter defender by far on the team. And I think he's going to take that Kobe 08 role. Like, who's the best player on the opposing team? That's my guy. And I'm going to take him away. And if you watch Jrue Holiday, you know, once he's on you, he's on you. It's lockdown. It doesn't matter who you are. He's going to make it tough on you. And so Americans should be looking forward to having everybody at full strength. Are we the most ideal team? Do we have a true big? No, we don't. Bam and Draymond, they aren't bigs per se, but guess what? They were 2 of the top 3 finishers in the Defensive Player of the Year voting, I believe, or I think it was top 4, because Bam was up there, and I know Draymond was up there with Ben Simmons and Rudy Gobert. So with that in mind, I know that they know how to defend, whether that be inside or on switches, especially Draymond Green. He's been doing it for a long time. He's a Defensive Player of the Year. He's actually won the award. So I believe our defense will be fine because interior-wise, they have us covered. And then, again, when Jrue gets back, we're going to have some perimeter defense. And what we need, like I said, other international teams, their roles are defined. If you looked at the game against Australia, when it was time to close, we were trying to figure out, is it going to be KD? Is it going to be Dame? Is it going to be Bill? And Australia, it was get Patty the ball. Like, I don't care about you other guys. You're probably stars wherever you are, and you're probably a closer wherever you are. But for this team, it's Patty Mills. And everybody followed suit with that, and he closed the deal. And we didn't close the deal because it was like, who do we get the ball to? And we didn't establish that yet. So I think by the time we actually get to Olympic play, those roles will be defined, and these nations are in trouble. And if tonight didn't show you that with the dominance that they displayed against Argentina, then I don't know what to tell you. I think you're just being naive. But one thing that did disturb me, let me get a drink, is that folks took these exhibition games as a chance to, again, push their narratives that exist within the NBA. For a long time, it's been, the MJ, LeBron narrative and who's better, who's the GOAT, yada, yada, yada. And now it's the who's the best in the world narrative. Most, or I wouldn't say most, but some people are on still saying, even at 36, then going on 37, LeBron James is the best player playing basketball today when healthy. And you can't really argue against that. I mean, somebody who made, 8 straight NBA finals, won the finals MVP just last year. along with AD. So you can't really argue that he isn't the best in the world. But I think when you watch the game of basketball and everything that a Kevin Durant can do, um, you wouldn't necessarily be wrong if you said that he was the best player in basketball either, just the way he can shoot the ball. He's a very underrated defender as far as perimeter defender and rim protection because he did really well in Golden State when they played the small ball lineup. He was pretty much the five, being the tallest guy on the court. So he's an underrated defender both on the perimeter and the interior. And he can get you a bucket. I mean, a 7 feet forward with point guard handles and shooting guard sniping ability. I mean, he can shoot it from 40. He can work in the post. He can work in the mid range. I mean, what more could you add? So I think when we think about what all comes into basketball, you wouldn't be far-fetched to say that Kevin Durant is the best. But again, folks took this opportunity when we lost 2 exhibition games, which, folks, let me remind you, it's like preseason games. You wouldn't judge premier quarterbacks on preseason games. You wouldn't judge premier NBA teams on preseason games. But here we are in preseason Olympic games, judging and putting things on folks' legacy. I heard a lot of folks say, well, if Brum's on the team, we wouldn't have lost to Australia and we wouldn't have lost to Nigeria. And then that's prompting, with that level of a reach, then that's prompting folks to bring the 2004 Olympics, which LeBron James was a part of the USA team, but barely played, and ended up winning bronze. To me, it doesn't affect either of those players' legacy. You kind of pick, it's pick your desire. Do you like Kevin Durant? Do you like LeBron? And leave it at that. But there's this hot take culture in sports where no one has logical discussions about who their favorite players are, why they're the favorite players, who your favorite teams. I don't think people are fans of teams anymore, like myself. I just put it there. But we can't have, logical and reasonable discussions without being disrespectful and without trying to tear another great player down just to uplift another great player. So everybody's getting their takes from Stephen A's of the world, the Skip Baylesses, the Shannon Sharps, the Max Kellermans. I mean, the Colin Cowherds. When are you guys going to just open your eyes, watch, make an informed decision of who you're going to root for and who you think is the best? Because my thing is, look, Jordan's always going to be the greatest of all time. I'm enjoying this landscape of new talent right now. To me, LeBron James is always going to be top 3 to 5 player in the league. He's always going to be a tough out. This year was just kind of sucky because he, like most superstars this year, were victims of injuries. He had a severe ankle injury and he never really recovered. Then you had to see Anthony Davis go down and things like that. So he's always going to be top 3 to 5, in my opinion, because you always game plan for him. I don't think until LeBron retires, there's not going to be a game, whether regular season or playoff, where you say, we're not worrying about him. We'll let him beat us. The hell you will. You will not let LeBron James beat you, because he will beat you. And I enjoy watching him play. I enjoy watching Kevin Durant play. I enjoy watching Kawhi Leonard. I definitely enjoy watching DeMar DeRozan, DeJounte Murray, Derek White, Zion Williamson. I can go on and on. I love the talent that's in the NBA, and I believe that the NBA is in great hands when it comes to the future beyond some of these great names we know. Just like, when the Tim Duncans and the Kobe's and the Dirks retired, when the Michael Jordans, Karl Malones, Shaqs, Magic Johnson, Larry Birds, guess what? The league still moved on and got even better, and we'll be fine. But folks have to stop taking an opportunity where we're supposed to be united. Like, we're really supposed to be united as a nation and cheering on our teams, whether it be the sports teams, cheering on our individual athletes to do the best they can do. And it's, to me, it's not even about representing the country. It's just about representing themselves. It's a chance for those specific athletes to prove that they are the best in the world. And in a way, it does prove that the country is the best in the world. I think that's what the overall reason for the Olympics are. That's what it's always been. even from the time of Greece, where it was supposed to show which of the cities were the best in the world, so to speak, or in Greece. And you see that now. I think that's why other teams take it more seriously, I should say, because they want to show that as a nation, not even just as individuals, as a nation, that they are better than us, that we're not the cream of the crop. And so I love it. I love that energy. But guys and girls, you have no chance. I mean, you might have a chance in some of the sports like fencing, and since Serena's not playing the Olympics, I'm expecting maybe Japan with Naomi Osaka to win. And then we don't really have good male tennis players. So I'm expecting somebody. I know the top three guys, Federer's not playing. I don't think Nadal's playing. I think it's Djokovic. He may not be playing because he just finished Wimbledon, and I don't think he's going to make that quick turnaround. So we'll see. But those are y'all sports. The tennis, the rowing, the indoor volleyball, beach volleyball is ours. Beach volleyball is ours. I'm pretty sure it's going to be ours again. I have track a little bit. I mean, I know the whole Sha'Carri Richardson thing, but Jamaica is Jamaica, and they've been kind of killing the game. But I do think the U.S. men's track and field, with no Usain Bolt out there, I do think our men's team has a chance to take gold. And our women's team could pull off an upset still. They're obviously not with their best runner for obvious reasons. But, I mean, who knows? That could be an upset. I mean, but again, y'all may have that. Y'all may have the diving shit and all that. But men's and women's basketball, getting your ass bust. Swimming, getting your ass bust. Beach volleyball, getting your ass bust. What else is happening? Gymnastics, oh my God. Like, why y'all even showing up? Y'all know who Simone Biles is? Like, don't even show up. Like, I mean, if you're in a country where it's a little bit bad if you don't show up, then I guess you have to show up. But if you're more in a free state, I guess, just don't show up. Just say you're uncertain about COVID or something. I mean, that's an easy excuse. Everybody can use that now. Just say that, because why show up? You ain't gonna lose. I mean, I've never been one to play for second, but if that's what you guys want to do, but guess what? We have a squad in gymnastics. I mean, you might not even medal. I mean, I don't know. I don't know all the rules and ins and outs. I'll have to ask my wife about the ins and outs of gymnastics. But if it's possible for 3 U.S. Olympians to medal in the same event, guess what? We're going to have a gold, a silver, and the bronze. I'm sorry to tell you. So again, get used to the Star Spangled Banner. It's going to be playing. I know you hate us. Sometimes we hate us, but it's ours. And so I'm going to ask, oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? And so probably we hail. I'm going on and on, but y'all get it. You'll have a lot of practice. I promise you, a lot of practice. Event after event after event. We're going to watch. We're going to see Americans dominate. You guys are going to be upset. You're going to talk about all the other medals you won that nobody cares about. I'm sorry, the sports that nobody cares about. At least we don't care about here. Like, I saw a video and we were talking. Somebody was saying, they finished second in the Winter Olympics. It was like, we're in America. We don't do that. But to finish second is great against some of the world's best, against some countries that take that to heart. Yeah, great. But guess what? What we're better at, we're gonna destroy you, and it's okay. It's okay. I appreciate the competition. I appreciate what you guys stand for and represent your nation, but it's just not going to happen this year or any year. You just got to get used to it. There are some sports where it might be a little bit tougher. I think the men's league will be a little bit tougher this year in basketball. Women's, it's not. It's not going to be tougher. I think the women's team, led by the greatest of all time, in my opinion. I know everybody, has their own opinions of who the greatest women's player is of all time. But for me, it will always be Diana Taurasi, Phoenix Mercury, Assassin. I mean, Kobe's the male version of her. You know, that you thought I was going to say she's the female version of Kobe, but no, 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 no. Kobe's the male version of Diana Taurasi. That's how in high regard I hold her, as being dominant in what she does. And Phoenix Mercury are actually my favorite. I know she's been hurt this season, had I think a clavicle injury early on, and now she's dealing with the hip. And they asked her, "Hey, you playing an All-Star game?" She said, "Look, I ain't worrying about that All-Star game. I'm getting ready for the Olympics." You know why? Because she's ready to put in work. She's putting work everywhere she went. UConn, Phoenix Mercury, and overseas. And now she's about to put in work for the Olympics and lead us to another gold medal. So that's one of the sports where I feel like if y'all can withdraw somehow, some way, just start coughing. Maybe they won't let you play, I guess, but you might not want to show up because everybody's been clamoring for the NBA, for the U.S. Men's team to blow folks out. We won't have to clamor for the women's team to blow out. We might put the college students in after the first quarter. That's how bad it's going to get, people. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna watch. I might watch the medal game because to see them blow people out by 60 every game, I don't know if I can stand to watch that. But with all due respect, best of luck to all the countries out there. The Olympics for me is always fun. I think it's the one time really that you can be proud to be like an American without some type of tragedy happening. Like when 9/11 happened, we all were proud to be Americans and we stood strong. And you know, when like major storms, like the hurricanes and everything like that, we're proud to be Americans. But it's always some type of trauma, some tragedy that causes us to unite in that way. Well, the Olympics, much like sports in general, is just that instrument that just unites us as one. And so I've always enjoyed it. I think the first Olympics I ever watched was the 2004 Olympics when I guess understood what was going on. Like I remember like watching some stuff at the 2000, but I wasn't really keen on what was happening. But I think 2004 was the first time I really watched. And so I've been an avid fan for the last, you know, few Olympics, and I'm not beholden to my country. Yes, I am excited every time for every event. But again, the sports I know we're going to dominate, I also know the sports we're not going to dominate. So when Usain Bolt was on the stage, I'm sorry, Tyson Gay, Justin Gatlin. I was cheering for the Jamaican guy because he was that good and he was making history. And so I do root for all the athletes, regardless of the nation, but for the most part, I want the Americans to at least medal. Shout out to a fellow alum of my alma mater, Southeastern Louisiana University. Alex Young is going to be performing in the field portion of the Olympics with the track and field. I believe it's the hammer throw. I believe he's performing, and he was an outstanding athlete when we were in college. I had a couple classes with him in our master's program. I won't act like we're like best friends or anything, but I talked to him. So really proud of him just because one, he's putting our country on the map, but he's also putting my alma mater on the map. Every now and then you hear some folks who are a little bit bitter because they didn't, maybe have the best experience or get their way or what they think they're owed. And so they always have a lot of bad things to say about our athletic program at Southeastern. But if you don't know, I strongly encourage you guys to go look them up. One of the best programs in the entire country, both in the classroom and on the playing field. Any sport really, but if you're looking at our major sports, track and field competing on a national level, football always up there, top 25 in the nation. I think we finished the season ranked 22 or 23 in the FCS. We're one game away from making it to the playoffs 2 years in a row under our new coach. And our quarterback, Mr. Kelly, he was named I think it's called the Walter Payton Award, which is given to the best player at the FCS level. So it's their Heisman, so to speak. And so my alma mater has been represented very, very well. We have a lot of players who are playing well internationally. And honestly, I think if they keep putting a little bit more work and folks in the league get their eyes on them, those guys are going to be playing in the National Basketball Association. It won't take long because they are extremely talented players. Like I said, track and field, national level. We had some folks go to nationals. They were competing with some of the best programs. So shout out to that program and what it does. Our soccer team, our women's soccer team, won conference. So really excited for them. Baseball made it to the semis of our conference tournament. Didn't end the way we wanted to, but guess what? They're pro Lions. I mean, every time I look, there's a baseball player, Southeastern baseball player being drafted. One of our best pitchers got drafted by the Yankees. I'm excited because I'm a Yankees fan, so I hope he gets to stick around and at some point gets called up. But I'm excited about my alma mater. I'm excited about my alma mater being represented in the Olympics. So this is probably the most excited I've been for the Olympics, just from what the Americans are bringing to the table, but also this might be the best chance for a lot of international teams in some of those major categories that we pay attention to really make some headway. So I'm going to switch channels for you guys a little bit, just still sticking with some basketball, some sports related. But we're going to talk about the NBA Finals with the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, I will say I am a Hawks season ticket holder, so I'm kind of upset that the Hawks aren't in the finals just because I feel that if Trae Young, if that referee isn't in the way and actually does their job, Trae Young doesn't step on his foot, doesn't get hurt, but guess what? What can you do? It happened. He got hurt. Also, Giannis got hurt, and the Bucks were able to close the series without him. So now they're in the NBA Finals. Phoenix Suns also kind of had some luck with some injuries, although they were almost unlucky with Chris Paul getting hurt. But obviously playing against a hampered LeBron James, a injured Anthony Davis, Denver with no Jamal Murray, and then the Clippers with no Kawhi Leonard. All in all, both teams did what they're supposed to do. When your opponent is injured, you don't feel sorry for them. You don't ease up. You strike. And that's what they did. And they earned the right to be in the NBA Finals. I know I brought up the injuries, but guess what? Injuries are a part of the game. And it's the person who seizes that moment. And both of those teams seize that moment and rightfully are in the NBA Finals. And it is off to a good start. I know folks were kind of going crazy when Phoenix got out to a 2-0 lead and Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton weren't necessarily bringing it offensively. But again, I know who watches basketball and who doesn't, because if you think Drew Holiday wasn't bringing it, you just were looking at a box score. Yeah, he missed some shots, but guess what? He made it extremely difficult for Chris Paul and Devin Booker. And you saw that manifest in game 3 as well, but then he found his offensive rhythm. And the Bucks were able to pull away for a pretty decent size win. And they have another chance to tie this series up at 2-2. Now, the basketball fan in me would love to see the Milwaukee Bucks win this game and tie it up, and that the series ultimately goes to 7 games. It's been, I believe, since the 2016 finals that we've had a game 7. And granted, getting to game 7, there were a few blowouts in that game. Game 7 was by far the best game of the series, but it was a game 7. I remember being on the cruise ship during Father's Day with my godparents and acting like the ship was sinking because we were trying to find the nearest TV because it was down to the wire. And we were trying to find the nearest TV to see the ending of that game, where we ultimately saw Kyrie Irving hit the shot of shots, as Skip Bayless would call it, to ultimately win the series. We also saw that great block by LeBron James and great transition defense by J.R. Smith. I want to make sure we acknowledge J.R. Smith and his defense. So again, it's been a good 5 years since we've had a great 7-game series, winner take all, win or no trophy, that type of deal. And apparently there's a report that says every 5 years we get a pretty good series. And I kind of did the math, and they're really up to par for the most part. So I'm hoping that we really get. I'm hoping Giannis can continue to dominate. This man is putting up 40 points a freaking game. And look, I'm one of the proponents of saying that he needs to diversify his game and I think I'm a little bit different than most when I say that, because when other folks say that, they want him to be Kevin Durant. But guess what? Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. There's nobody who's 7 feet tall that can do what he does on the court. Nobody can shoot like him. Nobody can dribble like him. That's not Giannis's game. I, for one, would like Giannis to realize that he is a big. I know it's hard in today's NBA. Everybody wants to be a guard, but you're not a guard. I don't want to see you bringing the ball up. And if you're bringing the ball up, I need you to get rid of it and set a pick and roll to the basket. And you saw that in game 3. Even in moments where, he was coming down, got a rebound, they built a wall for him so he couldn't get in transition. He would just reset, get the ball to Chris Middleton or Drew, set a screen, roll, pressure on the defense. That's what Giannis needs to do. He can get 40. He can easily average 40 points a night if he does that, because when he's on the move, there is no setting up on him. But when you constantly give him the ball on the perimeter, you're helping the defense out. You're helping them get set because they know he can't shoot. He may let them off the hook and shoot the ball, but ideally he's not going to make those shots, so they win. But if he's in that pick and roll action, off-ball movement, free flowing, he would be great. I think that's one of the reasons why some folks wanted him to go to Golden State. Me, I hate Golden State, but I do like Giannis, and I wanted Giannis to have the best chance to win. But he made me and a lot of folks put their feet in their mouth, because guess what? His team is here in the finals. And so, like I said, I'm hoping he has a monster game. I hope that Chris Middleton and Drew, because Chris still is struggling, I hope he finds his rhythm. I hope Drew still, continues to be locked down and, continues his, offensive ascension. But I say that to say this, guys. Chris Paul just wants it, man. Like, if you look in his eyes, I've never seen, and I've watched Chris Paul. I'm from New Orleans, so I've watched Chris Paul his whole career, both in New Orleans, the Clippers, the Rockets, OKC last year, and now the Suns this year. And I just see it, the intensity in his eyes that I'm not losing. This is the closest I've been to a ring. This is probably the closest I will ever get to winning a championship. He's 30, I think he's 35, 36 years old. This is what he has. Like, I'm gonna be honest, because Lakers are gonna get healthier, Warriors are gonna get healthier, my Spurs are gonna be healthier, the Pelicans are gonna be better next year, Memphis is gonna be Memphis, Portland, they may get some, like, you get where I'm going. Like, there's gonna be a lot of great teams. And while I believe Phoenix will be a perennial contender for years to come, this is their best chance to get it done. And I would argue that this is Giannis's best chance to get it done as a Milwaukee Buck. Because for the same reasons, KD, Harden, Kyrie, they're going to be healthier next year. I think the Hawks are continuing to ascend. I think the Knicks are continuing to ascend. The Sixers, I know they're dealing with the whole Ben Simmons thing, but guess what? I don't break it up. Hey, tell Ben to work. If Lonzo can fix his jump shot in an offseason, Ben can fix his woes. He just has to want to work. And if Doc and the coaching staff and management and even his teammates can just get a hold of him and have him put that work in, they were the #1 team in all of basketball, folks. #1 team. They don't need to make drastic changes. They don't need to get rid of one superstar. Ben had one bad postseason. Come on. One bad postseason. We'll be fine. Have him and Embiid play together. Get them a true point guard. Let Ben be your point forward. Boom. Coaching is hard, but it ain't that hard. Come on, get it done. So there's a lot of obstacles for Giannis and his Bucks. And this is just as much of a last chance as it is for Chris Paul, which has me torn into pieces. Because as a fan of the game, man, Chris Paul is one of the best to ever do it. I have him top 5 in my point guard list just because of as far as guards that I saw play. He has to be up there. What he does on the offensive end, what he does on the defensive end, he's had to do this every year of his career. He's never had a year where he could take off getting assists. He still always had to be a decent scorer. I think he, being around that 16 to 20 range, he's always had to do that. He can't be a guy that, scores 10 points and he just worries about getting assists. He has to have a level of both, getting his teammates involved, getting himself involved. And he's always had to be that top level defender. Even now, he's going to be a top level defender. That's never going to change. And knowing the injury history and everything he's fought for, I wanted just as bad for Chris Paul as I wanted for Giannis, man. And it's hard. But these are the things you love, honestly, as a fan, because you can't go wrong either way. And I think this is what the NBA needed. Every now and then, it's okay to have the hero and the villain. Last year, Jimmy Butler and his Miami Heat, they were the unsung heroes. They beat the Giants of the East to go against the big bad LeBron James and Anthony Davis, the super team, so to speak. And took them to 6 games despite the injuries to the leading scorer, Goran Dragic, and best defensive player, leading rebounder, Bam Adebayo. But we had the villain, the superhero, and then you had Kawhi and the villain, had Kawhi and the villain Warriors, and then LeBron and the villain Warriors, and LeBron and the villain Warriors, and LeBron and the villain Warriors. So you get my point. I mean, shit has always been LeBron and somebody. He's been there long enough to be the hero and the villain, which is crazy and unreal, which is a testament to his career. But this one, you're okay. Like, unless you're obviously, if you're a Suns fan or you're a Bucks fan, you're not going to be okay. But if you're a fan of basketball, of the NBA and what it means to be a player in the National Basketball Association and competing for a championship, and when the sacrifices when you have a Chris Paul that's put, almost 16 years now in this business, the ups and downs, being told he wasn't a leader and a team player, and to be the leader of a team with little to no playoff experience, let alone, playoff experience, to have them here. And for those guys to buy in too, that's great. Then you also have Giannis, 2-time league MVP, defensive player of the year, perennial all-star, superstar. And he gets penalized for being loyal when the Bucks haven't given him a reason not to be. And so it would be nice for him to win too, because sometimes loyalty does pay off. So you can't go wrong either way. But I do have the Suns winning tonight. I do have the series ending in 6, though. I do think the Suns are probably going to lose game 5 at home. It's a possibility, but I don't know. It could be Suns in 5, it could be Suns in 6. But I think the ultimate result is going to be Suns winning the series. But ideally, again, I'd love a game 7. I've been itching for a game 7. I've been itching more for a game 7 than my Spurs to make the playoffs. So I love game 7s. Just the intensity is at an all-time high. Now that fans are in the stands now, you're not. It's not going to be a better feeling. I say probably the next best feeling is the World Cup in soccer, with the nations, chanting, their respective chants for their nations. That's about it. That's about the only thing that is more fulfilling than a Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Not even the Super Bowl, in my opinion, can equate to that. So I'm interested to know who you guys have. Like I said, I got the Suns winning the series. I know some people are big fans of Giannis. I'm a big fan of Giannis. And I'd say, look, you can't go wrong. But make sure in the comment section you put who you got in this series. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the outcome of this game is going to be. So we'll see. I honestly have the Suns by 6 tonight, but I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong because I know if I'm not wrong, it's going to be hard for the Bucks to come back and make it a series, make it a nice series. I don't think you want a series ending in 5, but we'll see. But again, I want to go back to what I was saying earlier. With all these star players and understanding the landscape of the NBA now and how the international players have evolved essentially and gotten a whole lot better, and credit to them, credit to their countries investing in these programs, making these players better. Shout out to the work that the players and the coaches are putting in. But at the end of the day, you ain't the USA, baby. And there ain't no disrespect. That's just, I said it out of love and respect for all of y'all. Of course, I'm biased. I will admit that. I am one biased dude when it comes to American players. But I think I have an idea of what we're good at and what we're not. In some of these sports, man, I just don't see us losing. And it's going to be great. It's going to be great to watch, to see. I wish, again, every nation the best. I wish everybody affiliated with my San Antonio Spurs the best. So for all the Olympic athletes, for the Olympic coaches, Mike Brown, keep doing your thing in Nigeria. I'm excited, man. And y'all should be too. But y'all got to stop being so damn disrespectful. Can we just enjoy? Can we just enjoy the sports now? If we've been through a pandemic where we've lost some folks, we've lost our basic first world problems where, we were running out of toilet paper and panicking and stuff like that. Like, I get it. But we've been through so much as a nation, man, as a world, really, that we got to stop being so damn disrespectful to each other all the time over little stuff. I mean, if somebody offends you, sure. But even then, you need to carry yourself in a certain way. But sports, a game, people that don't even know who you are probably wouldn't run in a burning building to save you, really. Y'all got to really be cognizant of who y'all throw that cape on for, because there are consequences for every action. And sometimes it just ain't worth it. So I'm asking y'all, enjoy the Olympic Games, enjoy these NBA finals, enjoy life, man. We live, man. We live. I told y'all I'm a man of my word, and we were going to be live. Take some joy in that you are listening to a podcaster that will never let you down. That is me. That is my sincere promise to you, the viewer. Again, make sure you like this, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you don't like. Guess what? Whatever you like, I'm going to give it to you, because I give the people what they want. And I'm going to leave y'all with this. As I always say, if I offended anybody, that's a good thing. It's an opportunity for me to learn, and it's an opportunity for you to educate me. All I ask is that you keep it respectful. Peace.